If you don't trust me with the money, run for the board yourself. That's what the HOA treasurer said to a room full of homeowners who wanted to see the budget. Nobody ran. Nobody asked again. For 9 years. HOA fees go up 40% in 2 years. No vote, no meeting, no explanation. 40%. Marcus Reed opens the envelope on a Tuesday evening. 29 years old, software analyst. Just closed on his first home with his fiancée, Rachel, 4 months ago. He's still figuring out which drawer the can opener goes in. Still learning that home ownership comes with paperwork he's never seen before. This is one of them. An HOA quarterly assessment. $480. He pulls up last year's records from closing. The previous owners paid $340. Same house, same neighborhood, same pool, same common area. $140 more per quarter, and not a single word of explanation. He calls the HOA number. Voicemail. Leaves a message. Emails the HOA management address. Auto reply. Allow 10 to 14 business days for response. He talks to his next-door neighbor, Jim. Yeah, fees went up. They always go up. What are you going to do? Marcus looks at the statement. I'm going to ask what they're spending it on. But here's the thing about Marcus Reed. He doesn't have a law degree. He doesn't have connections. He doesn't wear a suit to work. He sits in a cubicle and stares at procurement reports 8 hours a day. He's the kind of guy you'd walk past in a hallway and forget. He carries a laptop bag, plain black, nothing on it, and a thermos of coffee that's always lukewarm by 10 a.m. The laptop bag has a side pocket. The zipper is broken. He keeps a USB drive in there. He'll need it. 3 months, 214 invoices, 2 ghost companies, 1 maiden name, and a plate of homemade chocolate chip cookies at the meeting where it all ends. He's a 29-year-old first-time homeowner who asks one question. What are we paying for? The answer will take him 3 months, 214 invoices, and 1 late-night drive to an address that shouldn't exist. But what he finds, and who it leads back to, will silence a room of 67 people. What makes them angrier, the amount stolen or the cookies? Hey everyone. I found this post at 2 a.m. on a Wednesday. Couldn't sleep. Doom scrolling r/HOA. One of those nights where every post blurs together. Then I hit this one. The title was so plain, it almost didn't register. I ask my HOA what they spend our fees on. That's it. No drama bait. No all caps. I almost scrolled past. Then I read the second paragraph, the part where he calls a pool company that doesn't exist, and I sat up in bed. 41,000 upvotes, 3,400 comments. 1 reply that stuck with me. This man did more forensic accounting at his kitchen table than most auditors do in a year. But the thing that got me wasn't the shell companies. It was the cookies. Teresa brings homemade chocolate chip cookies to the meeting where she's about to be exposed. She bakes them that morning. She doesn't know what's coming. How does a 29-year-old data analyst with no legal background unravel 9 years of embezzlement from his kitchen table? And what did he find on invoice 4471 that made a room of 67 people stop breathing? If you like stories where the quiet guy at the back of the room turns out to be the one with the spreadsheet, subscribe. And tell me, do you know what your HOA spends your fees on? Not the summary, the actual invoices. The HOA, 92 units, $480 a quarter per household. That's $176,640 a year. Suburban neighborhood, built 2005. Community pool, small park, common landscaping. Standard stuff. Teresa Vance, the woman who runs it all. 54 years old. Treasurer and acting president for 9 years. Nobody else wants the job. She opens the mail, pays the bills, signs the checks, files the taxes, approves the invoices, all from her kitchen table. No cosigner on checks, no audit committee. No independent oversight. 9 years. Not once has anyone looked at the books. Teresa Vance, the kind of woman who makes you feel guilty for asking questions. She volunteers for everything. She bakes cookies for meetings. She remembers your kids' names. She's the first person to wave hello and the last to leave the clubhouse. She doesn't act like someone with something to hide. She acts like someone who's doing you a favor. I've run this HOA for 9 years without a single complaint. Teresa folds her hands on the table. You don't like how I do it? Then sit in this chair. Nobody runs, nobody asks, nobody checks. Gary, 3 doors down from Marcus, asks about a fence repair 2 years ago. Common area fence, rotting posts, section falling over. It's in the budget. Approved. Never happens. He asks Teresa. It was deferred to next year. He asks the next year. Deferred again. 4 years now. Same rotting fence. Dana, the only other active board member, once suggests hiring an auditor. Teresa shuts it down at the meeting. Auditors cost $5,000. That money is better spent on the community. Motion dies. Nobody brings it up again. Marcus attends his first HOA meeting 2 weeks after getting the assessment. Sits in the back row. Doesn't speak. Doesn't ask questions. He brings his laptop, plain black bag, broken zipper, and takes notes. Teresa glances at him once. He nods. She nods back. Nothing to see. Just a new homeowner getting acclimated. What she doesn't notice, he opens the HOA's emailed financial report on his screen before he sits down. He's already read it, twice. That was until Marcus Reed sat down at his kitchen table, with a box of invoices and a cup of coffee that went cold 3 hours ago. Marcus files a formal records request under the state HOA transparency law. 3 weeks later, a box arrives from the management company. Invoices. Hundreds of them. He spreads them across the kitchen table. Paper everywhere. Coffee going cold. Rachel is already in bed. He finds it on the third night. 2 a.m. Eyes burning dry. Invoice 4471. Premier Aqua Services. Pool deep clean and chemical treatment. $3,200. Dated March 15th. Printed on standard white paper. Company logo at the top. Generic. The kind you make in 5 minutes with clip art. He photographs it. Picks it up. Something about the address at the bottom. He can't say what, not yet, but his stomach tightens. One line under maintenance catches his eye. Pool cleaning. Premier Aqua Services. $3,200 a month. $3,200 a month for pool cleaning. He uses the pool. It's fine, clean enough. But he calls 3 local pool companies that afternoon. Average rate for a pool that size, $800 to $1,200 a month. Premier Aqua is charging triple. Marcus sits at his laptop. Kitchen table. Invoice 4471 beside the keyboard. He types, Premier Aqua Services. Google. No website. No Yelp page. No Google business listing. No Facebook. No state business registration in any database he can access. Nothing. A company billing his HOA $38,400 a year has 0 online presence. 0. He picks up the phone, dials the number on the invoice. 3 rings. Automated recording. The number you have reached is not in service. He calls the management company. Can you confirm Premier Aqua Services as a verified vendor? Pause. We process invoices submitted by the board treasurer. We don't independently verify vendors. So you just pay whatever she sends you? We process what's submitted, Mr. Reed. Marcus hangs up. He doesn't look surprised. He looks confirmed. He opens the side pocket of his laptop bag, the one with the broken zipper, pulls out the USB drive, and saves everything. Then he labels the folder on his desktop, HOA-Audit. The folder already has 4 subfolders. He created it the night he got the assessment, 3 months ago. Saturday morning. Marcus drives to the address printed on invoice 4471, 324 Commerce Boulevard, Suite 200, commercial strip, nail salon, UPS store, small parking lot. Suite 198, Suite 202. There is no Suite 200. The numbers skip. The address on the invoice. The address Premier Aqua Services has been billing from for at least 3 years doesn't exist. Marcus sits in his car for 10 minutes, engine running. He stares at the invoice on his phone, $3,200 a month, from a building that doesn't exist, for a company that doesn't exist, paid with his neighbor's money. He goes home, opens the box of invoices again, kitchen table under the overhead light. He goes through every single one, 214 invoices over 15 months. A second vendor, Green Valley Landscaping LLC, $1,800 a month, $21,600 a year for common area maintenance. He Googles it. No registration, no reviews, phone number, voicemail box, never returns calls. Address, a P.O. box at the same UPS store. Different company name, same location. Marcus builds a spreadsheet. Premier Aqua Services, $38,400 a year. Green Valley Landscaping, $21,600. Total, $60,000 a year to two companies that appear to exist only on paper. What are we paying for? That's the question Marcus wrote on his first yellow legal pad the night the assessment arrived. Now he has an answer. They're paying Teresa. But the pool is being cleaned. He's seen the guy. Different truck, no logo, comes Wednesdays. Marcus catches him one morning. Who do you work for? Lady in the neighborhood, Teresa. She pays me cash, $800 a month. And the landscaping is happening. A crew shows up every 2 weeks. Teresa pays us direct, $600 a month. The real services cost a fraction. The invoiced companies are phantoms. The difference, $2,400 a month from pool, $1,200 from landscaping, goes somewhere else. $3,600 a month, times 15 months, Marcus can verify. $53,400, minimum. Marcus goes to the next board meeting, casual, doesn't tip his hand. I noticed we spend about $38,000 on pool cleaning. Who's our provider? Teresa doesn't hesitate. Premier Aqua Services, they're excellent. I've used them for years. I tried to look them up, couldn't find a website. Teresa waves her hand. Not everyone has a website. They're a small local company, very reliable. Marcus nods, takes a sip of water, says nothing else. He goes to the UPS store, can't access P.O. Box records. But he files a public records search on the LLC, Green Valley Landscaping, LLC. Registered to T.M. Holloway, not Teresa Vance. Marcus searches T.M. Holloway, public records, marriage license database. Teresa Marie Holloway, Teresa's maiden name. The ghost companies are hers. She's been paying herself through shell companies registered under her maiden name for 9 years, and nobody checked. That night, Marcus shows Rachel the spreadsheet, the invoices, the LLC filing, the maiden name match. She sits on the edge of the bed, her voice drops. What if she retaliates? We just bought this house. Marcus stares at the spreadsheet. $53,400 from his neighbors, from Gary, who can't get his fence fixed because the money was already gone, from Dana, who was told an audit was too expensive because an audit would have ended everything. No, these people paid her to protect their neighborhood. She robbed them. But then it gets worse. 3 days later, Marcus gets home from work. There's a letter in the mailbox, HOA letterhead. Pursuant to Section 5.3 of the CC&RS, the board has approved a special assessment of $750 per household for emergency pool resurfacing. $750. Marcus checks the pool on his way inside. It looks exactly the same as last week. He calls 2 pool resurfacing companies. Neither has been contacted by the HOA. He calls Gary. Did you get the special assessment? Yeah, $750 for the pool. Teresa said it's urgent. It's not. Marcus pauses. The pool doesn't need resurfacing. Nobody's been hired. She's collecting for a job that isn't happening. Gary goes silent for 5 seconds. She's still doing it, even now. Marcus feels the weight of it. $750 times 92 units, $69,000. Another phantom charge. She's accelerating. He sits at the kitchen table that night and stares at the USB drive, the folder with 4 months of evidence. Rachel is asleep. The house is quiet. For the first time, he wonders if it's too big, if he should hand it to someone, a lawyer, the police, and walk away. Then he thinks about Mrs. Patterson across the street, 72, fixed income, $750 she doesn't have, for a pool resurfacing that doesn't exist. Teresa will collect the money. Teresa will file it. Teresa will say the contractor was paid, and nobody will ask. Marcus picks up the phone, makes 3 calls. The state attorney's office, HOA fraud division, a forensic accountant through a consumer protection nonprofit, and Gary. I need you to second a motion. Can you do that? Gary's voice is quiet. Then, I've been waiting for someone to say something for 4 years. The annual budget meeting is in 2 weeks, February, biggest turnout of the year. Teresa will be there, smiling, with binders, with cookies. Think about that for a second. Teresa Vance bills her neighbors $60,000 a year through two companies that don't exist. She pays the real workers in cash at a fraction of the invoiced rate. She pockets the difference. She's been doing this for 9 years. And when someone starts asking questions, she doesn't slow down. She speeds up. She launches a $69,000 special assessment for pool work nobody ordered, hoping to cash out before the walls close in. The woman who told Dana an auditor is too expensive has been stealing more than the auditor would cost every year for 9 years. Let me ask you this. If you opened your HOA's financial report tonight and found a company you can't Google at an address that doesn't exist, billing your neighborhood $38,000 a year, would you bring it up quietly? Or would you bring invoice 4471? The annual budget meeting, February 12th, community clubhouse, folding tables, coffee urn. Teresa sits at the front table, new binders, glossy covers, spiral bound. A plate of homemade chocolate chip cookies next to the sign-in sheet. She's smiling. She always smiles. She doesn't know about the spreadsheet. She doesn't know about the LLC search. She doesn't know about the public records match or the marriage license database. She doesn't know that the man in the third row has invoice 4471 in his folder and her maiden name on a sheet of paper. She doesn't know that Gary, the fence neighbor she deferred for 4 years, is sitting in the 5th row, waiting to second a motion. She doesn't know that Dana kept notes. Teresa Vance thinks tonight is a routine meeting. Binders, slides, cookies, applause. 67 of 92 homeowners attend. Best turnout in 3 years, because Marcus spends 2 weeks quietly telling people it's worth showing up. Teresa opens the meeting. Welcome, everyone. Let's start with good news. Our reserve fund is healthy, our pool is pristine, and I'm pleased to report we came in under budget last fiscal year. She clicks through her slides, charts, green arrows pointing up. Marcus raises his hand. I have a few questions about the budget. Teresa nods, warm, welcoming. Of course, go ahead. Marcus stands, opens his laptop. The projection screen flickers on behind Teresa. Premier Aqua Services. Everyone see this line item? $38,400 last year, for pool cleaning. He clicks. Google search results fill the screen. Empty. No website, no registration, no listing. I called the phone number on their invoices. He holds up his phone. Speaker on. Automated voice fills the room. The number you have reached is not in service. A woman in the 4th row whispers to her husband. Someone in the back sets down a coffee cup, hard. I drove to their address, 324 Commerce Boulevard, Suite 200. He clicks. Photo on screen, parking lot, nail salon, UPS store. No Suite 200. This company does not exist. The room goes quiet. Not confused quiet, understanding quiet. The kind of quiet where 67 people start doing the same math at the same time. But there's more. He clicks again. Green Valley Landscaping, same pattern, $1,800 a month, different name, same UPS store P.O. box. He pulls up the LLC registration. Both companies trace to a P.O. box registered to T.M. Holloway. Room murmurs. Some people don't recognize the name. Marcus lets it hang for 3 seconds. T.M. Holloway is Teresa Marie Holloway, Teresa's maiden name. The murmurs stop. The room inhales. Teresa's smile disappears. Not slowly, all at once. Her hands go flat on the table. This is a misunderstanding. Those are legitimate companies. I can explain. Marcus picks up invoice 4471, holds it up. Would you like to call Premier Aqua Services right now? Their number is on this invoice. He extends his phone toward her. Teresa doesn't take it. Her eyes go to the phone, then to the room. 67 faces, some angry, some stunned, some nodding slowly, like pieces they never understood are finally clicking into place. Remember the laptop bag with the broken zipper? The USB drive Marcus keeps in the side pocket? He created the audit folder 3 months ago, the night he got his first assessment. He wasn't reacting to the invoices. He saw the fee increase and knew something was wrong before he opened the first envelope. The quiet guy in the back row of that first meeting, nodding politely at Teresa, he was already 2 steps ahead. Gary stands. His voice is steady. I move for the immediate removal of the treasurer and a full independent audit of all HOA financial records. Dana, the same Dana who suggested an audit 3 years ago and was shut down by Teresa. Seconded. Voice vote. Every hand in the room goes up. Unanimous. Marcus looks at Teresa, at the binders she printed, at the cookies she baked, at 9 years of Teresa handles everything sitting on that table. He sets invoice 4471 down. The paper is warm from his hand. He turns to Teresa. His voice is low, flat, zero emotion. $53,000. From your neighbors, for companies that don't exist. You told Dana an audit costs too much. Now we know why. Teresa's cookie plate sits untouched on the table. Her glossy binders, the ones she printed for this meeting, sit in a neat stack. Nobody picks one up. She reaches for her purse, stands, walks out. No clipboard, no binders, just the purse. The door closes behind her. Gary claps, once, slow, then Dana, then the room. Not celebration, relief. 9 years of Teresa handles everything, ending in 4 minutes. Then Dana opens her own folder, thick, tabbed. I always knew something was off. I just couldn't prove it. She hands it to Marcus. I kept notes, 3 years of them. Teresa told Dana that an audit was too expensive, $5,000. Teresa was stealing $60,000 a year. The audit she blocked would have cost less than 1 month of her theft. 9 years. $5,000 to protect $540,000. That's the math. Police report filed. Charges: theft by deception, wire fraud, filing false financial documents. Teresa's attorney negotiates a plea. Full restitution, $53,400, plus 3 years probation. Criminal record: Teresa sells her home, $285,000. The house she ran the HOA from. The kitchen table where she signed the checks. The driveway where she parked the car she bought with stolen pool money. Sold, to cover restitution and legal fees. The new board: Gary, president. Dana, treasurer, with mandatory co-signer on every check and annual independent audit. Management company contract renegotiated with independent vendor verification. Every invoice requires 2 signatures. Every vendor must be registered with the state. Fees? Down, from $480 to $310. First reduction in 9 years. The special assessment for pool resurfacing? Canceled. The pool doesn't need resurfacing. It never did. But the story doesn't end there. Teresa's house? The buyer? Marcus's neighbor, Jim. The what are you gonna do guy. First renovation he does? The fence. The common area fence Gary asks about for 4 years. Rotting posts replaced. New boards. Straight, clean. 4 years. All Teresa had to do was approve the fence, but the money was already in her account. Teresa spent 9 years saying, I handle everything. She was right. She handled the invoices. She handled the checks. She handled the phantom companies. And she handled the cookies at the meeting where 67 people voted her out in 4 minutes. 6 months later, Marcus's kitchen table. The same table where he first spread the invoices under the overhead light. Clean now. Rachel makes coffee. Morning light cuts through the blinds. One thing on the wall, right above where he sat with the box of invoices and the cold coffee. Invoice 4471, framed, behind glass. Pool deep clean and chemical treatment, $3,200. Rachel shakes her head. You framed a fake invoice. Marcus takes a sip of coffee. It cost our neighbors $53,000. It's the most expensive piece of art I'll ever own. It wasn't about the fee increase. It wasn't about the pool. It was about 92 households trusting one person with their money, and that person trusting that nobody would ever check. Marcus checked. And the answer was on page 1 of a box that sat in a management company's storage room for 3 years, waiting for someone to ask for it. Marcus asks one question. What are we paying for? The answer costs Teresa her home, her reputation, and her freedom. But not every HOA scandal involves money. The next one involves a veterinarian, a pink leash, and a pet skunk named Richard. The HOA tells her skunks aren't allowed. She tells them Richard is an emotional support animal. What happens next makes Teresa's cookies look like a warm-up. Subscribe because that skunk story drops next week, and trust me, what Richard does at the board meeting is something you have to hear to believe. Comment, does your HOA show you the full budget? Not a summary, the full budget, with line items, with vendor names, with receipts. If they don't, now you know why you should ask. And share this video with anyone paying HOA fees who's never seen a receipt. It might save them more than they think.